Back with you on Get Up, and let's talk some college football and focus on the Cotton Bowl, where Alabama meets Cincinnati tomorrow. Now, Bama looks to repeat as champions, as Cincinnati is making their first ever playoff appearance. Bryce Young has completed 35%, has a 35% completion percentage on passes thrown 20-plus yards downfield, which ranks 84th among 124 qualified QBs. Now, the Bearcats, on the other hand, they've allowed just 17% completion percentage on such passes. That is the best in the FBS. Now, let's bring in Joey Galloway with more from the Cotton Bowl for this matchup. And we highlight that because it's a really important part of this matchup. Now, Joey, Alabama lost John Mechie to injury a few weeks ago. Now they face that Cincinnati strong secondary. Is this cause for concern for Bama?
Anytime you lose a guy like John Mechie, it's a concern. But anytime you're Alabama, you have other guys like Jameson Williams and other receivers to come off of that bench that'll be fine playmakers. You've seen it all season long. We see it every season with Alabama. They suffer injuries at this time of year. Jalen Waddle was a guy that didn't play in their last championship game, and they were absolutely fine. There is no such thing as a good corners unless you got a good pass rush. So the corners on the back end for Cincinnati might be the best two in the country, in Gardner and Bryant. But the key is you got to get at Bryce Young. That's where it starts for Cincinnati. It starts up front. If they can get at Bryce Young, then they'll have a chance to stay in this game. If they let him have time in the pocket, it could be trouble for the Cincinnati defense. We've seen it against Auburn. We've seen it against Texas A&M, LSU, where they were able to get in the backfield and disrupt Bryce Young in that Alabama offense, and they had a chance late in the game. If Cincinnati can do that up front, they'll have a chance to beat Alabama.
Okay, that'll be key. So many of our experts talking about how Cincinnati's cornerbacks are NFL caliber, or at least on the NFL radar. Now, Alabama remains 13.5-point favorites. How would Cincinnati pull off the upset?
Well, a lot of things that go their way, obviously, but they've done it all season long. They haven't gotten caught up in the moment. They haven't been willing to talk about the what-ifs and the respect they're getting and should they be in the playoff or not. I think Luke Fickell has done a terrific job of keeping that team focused. A lot of seniors on that team, a lot of veterans on that team. They're focused. They got to go out and do their job, do whatever they do. Desmond Ridder has played his best football in their biggest games, hasn't turned the ball over in their games against Notre Dame or SMU or the American Championship game against Houston, has no turnovers, no interception. I think that's the key. You can't give the ball away, and I believe in their ability to run the football with Jerome Ford. If they can do that, slow down this game, keep it in maybe the mid-20s, Cincinnati will have a chance late in this game.
Let's talk Alabama and Cincinnati. They square off tomorrow at the Cotton Bowl in the first of the college football playoff games. Now, this matchup has no shortage of NFL talent on the field, with offensive lineman Evan Neal as the number 3 NFL prospect, according to Mel Kiper's big board. Now, sticking with the Tide, wideout Jameson Williams is ranked 6th on Mel's big board. The Bearcats also have a pair of NFL-caliber players, including defensive back Ahmad Gardner and quarterback Desmond Ridder. Now, Joey Galloway's back with us to talk a little bit about the game. And look, we'll talk about these star players in this matchup. Evan Neal's going to play a big role in protecting Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young in this game. How does Cincinnati stop Bryce Young?
They got to get pressure on him. I do believe in the corners of Cincinnati. You got Bryant and Gardner on the back end, which might be the best tandem of cornerbacks in college football. But there is no such thing as a good corner without a good pass rush. You can't cover forever, especially not the caliber of receivers like Jameson Williams and some of the other guys that Alabama will run at these guys. It starts up front. They have to get pressure on Bryce Young the same way that Auburn did, the same way that Texas A&M did, the same way that LSU did. And if you can do that, then that's when those awesome corners come into play. That's when they'll have a chance. If you can make the ball come out quick, those guys on the back end are very talented, and they'll create turnovers for you. But it starts up front. You have to get at Bryce Young.
Yeah, and so that's what the defense has to do with Young and on the defensive side. What does Cincinnati have to do versus the Alabama defense?
Well, obviously it starts with running the football. I think Desmond Ridder is a terrific quarterback and a leader on that football team. But you have Jerome Ford who's run for over 1,400 yards. And we've seen this offense get off the slow starts at certain times during this season, but it begins up front. If they can run the football and make Alabama decide to bring the safety down into the box, it's going to be so much easier to throw the ball. Alabama wants to play a too deep safety look, a defense in the secondary, and they can only do that if they can stop the run early. Cincinnati has to come out in this game, be physical, prove that they're on the same level of physicality with Alabama in running the football, and then after that, let Desmond Ridder take over this football game, whether it's running or passing.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.